Gatun was originally a small village along the banks of the Chagres River, and it appeared on the Spanish colonial maps. The village was originally located roughly where the Gatun Dam is. The original alignment of the Panama Railroad had a stop in the Gatun. The French used Gatun as a base for housing and machine shops, and the U.S. Began work on the Gatun locks in 1906 and built a new location for the town, which is basically the current location. In April 1908, the inhabitants of the old village were moved to the east of the new Gatun in an area called Newtown. Newtown was destroyed to make way for the new set of locks, making the remainder of Gatun an island between two sets of locks. The Gatun Earthen Dam, let me back out some, runs from the locks down, across, of course, the Chagres River. And when it was constructed, it was the largest earthen dam in the world. It was constructed between 1907 and 1913. And it serves two important purposes. It controls the ever-varying Chagres River, which goes up and down based on wet season, dry season, and it creates Gatun Lake. It is possible that dirt from construction of the new locks over here was spread across the dam. And I have some attachments and photos that I can show you here. The 1969 low resolution, you can see the dam here. And of course, this is a fragment of a CZ map, and you've got your dam, the spillway, and so forth. And there is a power station connected with the dam. And this is a photo taken in, I believe, 1969 by Bill Mack. And you're seeing like half of the dam that runs from the locks, and here's the spillway and power plant. And this is actually a photo by Edwin Armbruster that was taken in the late 60s, early 70s. And at that point, the lake was flooding and so forth. So they had the spillway fully open, and as you can see, the water was all the way up to the top. And there obviously were a lot of people who were kind of enthralled by seeing all that water. Another one by Edwin Armbruster. Again, the dam, the spillway, the power station, and locks in the background here. And excuse me, this would be the town of Gatun, and this is prior to the new locks being put in. And actually, you can see Fort Davis back here. Another one by Edwin Armbruster, same time period, late 60s, early 70s. And you can see the dam running down from here, and, Gatun here, and just a little bit in the corner there, Fort Davis. And next, talk about Gatun Lake itself. And Carlos Rogers gave a statement. He said he retired from the dredging division in 2007. And the dredging division has several disposal dumping sites along the canal. And they were used depending on if they were dredging by using a cutter suction dredge or dumping the dredge material via floating pipeline, or dipper dredge and dumping the dredge material via several floating dumping barges. The reason that's important is, excuse me, that a number of the dumping sites were actually in Gatun Lake. And Gatun Lake was created between 1907 and 1913 by building the Gatun Dam across the Chagres River. And Gatun Lake has an area of 164 square miles at its normal level of 85 feet above sea level. And it forms a major component of the Panama Canal. The lake, including the flooded arm extending up to the Chagres River, makes up 20.3 miles of the raised portion of the waterway. The lake's also important as a reservoir of water for the operation of the canal locks. And it's also serves as a source of drinking water for Panama City and Cologne. Even in 1913, it became evident that the water Hyacinth had to be controlled in the lake and Chagres River. The destruction of the plant in the canal, Gatun Lake and the tributaries, was begun in March 1914. An arsenic solution was used until 1935. A solution of copper sulfate and water was used as a spray from 1935 to 1952. The use of 2,4-D was started in 1948. And as I mentioned, sediment from dredging operations has been dumped at different locations in the lake. I just tagged the lake itself, and an expert will have to determine the best spots to test in the lake. Now, looking at some of the attachments. Okay, this is from 1969, and I purposely backed this out even further to give an idea of the scope of the lake. As you can see, it runs, all through here and comes down as part of the canal to the Chagres River, and up here and back at Fort Gulick and Fort Davis and Gatun Locks, Fort Sherman, and etc. And this is a map that shows the dumping sites for dredge material. And as you can see in Gatun Lake, they had a number of areas where they disposed of sediment. And this is a picture from 1960s and shows Gatun Lake. Now, this was, I'm not sure exactly when this photo appeared in the paper, but it shows a crew going out and spraying the water hyacinths in the in order to control them. Depending on the day, would determine what solution they were using. Because if it was prior to 1935, they're spraying an arsenic solution. If it's later, it could be the composite, or it could be 2,4-D. Gatun Yacht Club. This was reported by Susan Wolfson. This was a popular recreation area. It's on a point, I pull out, right outside the locks here. It's been closed for quite some time, and it has been used for some commercial cruise ships. If they're doing a partial transit, sometimes what they'll do is they'll come into Gatun Lake. Passengers will get on tenders and come into the old Gatun Yacht Club. I'm not sure about access to this anymore because it's now, as you can see, between the two sets of locks, the old locks here and the new locks here. So what remains of Gatun has become an island in the middle here. Okay, this is the 69 version. At that point, the new locks were not in, so you had access through here, but also you had a road that came up here and through, going up toward Fort Davis. It was Bolivar Highway, but that's all cut off now with the new locks. Again, a fragment of a CZ map, and they would be located down here. And as you can see, this is prior to the new locks. So you can see the roadway came up here and connected with Bolivar Highway. And the railroad also came by here, which it no longer does. And this is a picture from late 60s, early 70s, and it shows the yacht club over here. Another shot of the yacht club. Now, Susan also reported Gatun Lock 8, and she mentioned, that this is where nuclear subs would dock on the far side of the Gatun Dam. In other words, they would use this for access back and forth. I located it, actually, I located it using one of the CZ map fragments. Or I'm sorry, it was not, it was a TTC map. And as you can see now, apparently there's some small boats and so forth that are using this as a dock area. So here we are, 1969 low resolution view. And as I said, I located it not on this map, but it's here in this area on the CZ fragment. But on the TTC map, it's possible to see Dock 8 right here. Okay, this is another one reported by Susan Wolfson. She said, well, let's take a look at the Atlantic power lines. And the reason being that, and I can remember this, wherever the power lines ran, it was always clear underneath. And, the vegetation was kept away from the lines. And when Susan put that on, my first thought was, I knew some that ran real near Fort Davis, but those have been moved or gone. So I looked over here, and the dam down here has a power plant, and it has lines that come out from that. And this is actually one of the lines that runs up here, and it runs up to about the new bridge, I believe. And it's along a stretch of the old S2 road. S2 road got moved. It's now running along here. So looking at attachments, our 1969 view. Here we are, 821 Atlantic power lines, and right along the old S2 road. And it's right in this area on the CC fragment.
I'd like to thank veteran Richard Wyman for putting together all of this information on possible places to test in the Panama Canal Zone. I'd like you to all come over to the Military Veterans Advocacy and join with us today. We are further than we have ever been before. We have a rulemaking request that's been granted by the VA Secretary. We have an HR 5026 bill for Panama introduced into the Congress, and we could not have done that without the Military Veterans Advocacy and the leadership of Commander John Wells. There's also a ton of information under the Veterans of Panama Canal that we have submitted to the VA Secretary, who granted our request. So this information might be able to help you in your claims. And if you need help with an attorney, if you're at the appeals level, use our contact button and contact our administrative staff, and they can guide you for help.